Hello, my name is Wes Wilk, and I am a solutions architect here at AWS, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been at AWS about 4 years now. My role as a solutions architect is to work with enterprises and to help solve complex business and technical problems. And my experience here within AWS has really been working with these enterprises with their cloud journeys, whether it's moving individual workloads to full data center migrations or even mass migrations itself. And with me, I have Dan Gallivan from VMware. Dan?
Thank you, Wesley. So my name is Dan Gallivan. I'm a senior director at VMware, responsible for VMware's worldwide cloud partner strategy and architecture team. And I work with our partners around the globe to build joint go-to-market offerings based on VMware Cloud on AWS.
Great, thank you. So when we look at IT in general, we see IT as two opposing concepts or values to the company. On one hand, IT is looked at as a cost center, as one that's really looked at to reduce the cost and trying to reduce the cost of supporting these current technologies, and also looked at as an innovator, as an institution to help provide services for the larger business to help the company innovate. However, this tends to be a challenge in reality. The supporting the environments today, kind of the keeping the lights on concept, really ends up a lot of times burdening IT organizations and squeezes the ability to innovate. And this is becoming a problem within organizations today. So the question really comes down to, which is the point of the conversation today, is really how can enterprises devote more resources to things that matter and move faster while being more secure? Typically, organizations today have a mentality of the way I've done things in the past. There's rooted ways and processes to perform actions, to request servers, to implement workloads that have always worked in the past, and companies act in such a way. However, this tends to be a bottleneck. You know, what would happen if a competitor or a startup were to start encroaching on your business and innovate faster than you? Do you have even the ability to move faster and make code changes faster and implement faster? Many organizations can't. So many organizations want to move faster and act like a startup to be able to react to their competitors. And this really boils down to many things, including technology. So it involves culture, organization, and overall technical architectures. And involves many types of practices, such as DevOps, microservices, and containerization. And all these technologies rely heavily on cloud. So some of the key value drivers of customers who move to AWS are innovation, number one. Jeff Bezos says that if you double the number of experiments you do per year, you're going to double your inventiveness. Simply, the more you try, the more things you discover, right? So having the ability to acquire resources on demand and turn them off when not needed allows you to transform your organization to a much more experimentation type culture and hopefully leading to more discoveries. With availability, we have an infrastructure of regions and availability zones where customers can design applications to make it more highly available and fault tolerant than what's traditionally available in your data center today. With elasticity, the ability to acquire resources on demand allows you to match the supply and usage of resources with your demand. A really good example of this is Epic Games, who runs Fortnite, the game Fortnite. This game has over 200 million players and has experienced 100 times growth in just 12 months. Additionally, between high and low peaks within a day, they see a 10x difference of usage and capacity needs. So the elasticity of cloud is perfect for them to allow them to grow quickly, and also even within a single day to allow expand and contract to meet the demands of their customers, which again would have been virtually impossible in a traditional data center. With global scale, with our global footprint of 20 regions and 60 availability zones, we're able to allow customers to run applications close to their customers. Low costs. Many customers say when they run applications in the AWS Cloud that they experience a cost reduction as well. For example, Intuit moved a number of their applications into AWS and reduced their costs by a factor of 6. And finally, security. Cloud security at AWS is our highest priority. You'll benefit from a data center and networking architecture that's built to meet the requirements of the most security-sensitive organizations. And we have great examples with financial institution customers such as Capital One and NASDAQ, or government agencies such as NASA or the FDA. Customers also choose to run AWS because of our capabilities. And we have a vast arrangement or assortment of services that range from IoT to artificial intelligence and machine learning to analytics, all built on top of the core computing around compute and storage, really allowing customers to move virtually any workload into the cloud. Additionally, this platform is constantly evolving and improving based on customer feedback. So, for example, in 2015, we had 722 major service improvements, whether it be new features or new services. Up to last year in 2017, I should say, and we had over 1,430 in 2017, with our final number to be projected, but it'll be well above that. And the idea here is that you are constantly current on the AWS latest technology, and because of our pay-as-you-go model, you can pick and choose which services you need and always be current with the latest and greatest of all of our capabilities. Some common use cases for cloud adoption. Many customers, when they want to experiment with cloud, will try to pick something that's kind of quick and easy and is perceived as being safer. And sometimes they'll choose a dev and test environment just to experiment and try things out. So that's one way that customers will move to the AWS and try out our services. You also have new applications. Sometimes if one of our customers will have a brand new application they want to write, you have a greenfield and open slate to create your application from scratch and leverage the best practices around scalability and elasticity of the cloud. Sometimes makes it easier for organizations to experiment. Going digital, moving websites is actually a very common use case of moving to AWS. With our ability to expand and provide on-demand resources, websites become a natural application to move to the cloud because websites tend to have spikes in usage, whether it be promotions or holidays or seasons. The cloud can meet demand in a very cost-effective manner. For example, actually, Seattle Times newspaper moved its newspaper website to AWS purely for leveraging the scalability of AWS. For analytics, many customers leverage the high computing performance power we have within AWS to perform analytics and data analysis. For example, Kellogg's uses AWS to evaluate data for promotions. And they went from one data simulation per day on-premise to dozens per day on AWS. Mobile applications, again, another very common use case. For example, Under Armour built MyFitness and MyFitnessPal mobile applications on AWS. And they say that this allows them to focus on growth instead of having to worry about optimizing their data center footprint. Data center migration, many times when customers have an event such as a lease renewal for a data center, they may decide that going forward, we want to move those workloads to the cloud. And we have many customers that actually do full data center migrations because they have that upcoming deadline. And for example, Hearst Corporation moved 10 out of its 29 data centers into AWS. Mission critical applications, sometimes it takes a little bit of trust building. And when customers finally realize that we can run our all applications on AWS, we can move things such as ERP, CRM securely into the cloud. And Kellogg's Corporation, for example, moved its mission-critical SAP environments to AWS, additionally increasing the reliability and performance as well. And then finally, all in, sometimes a customer will realize as they move more and more into the cloud, they're seeing the benefits of the cost reduction and scale, that it just makes sense to move everything. For example, the Expedia group, Expedia.com, Hotels.com, Hotwire.com, has been recently all moving into the AWS. And even Condé Nast, the parent company for Vogue, Condé Nast Traveler, and Vanity Fair, moved 84 websites and 189 apps into the cloud while also reducing costs by 40%. So where are customers innovating? These are some key areas here where the innovation's happening. So with AI ML, we have a number of pre-trained AI services for computer vision. There's language, recommendations, and forecasting. Additionally, we have SageMaker, which allows you to quickly build and train machine learning models at scale, or you can even build your own custom models with support for the open source frameworks. For example, Intuit and MLB StatCast are two organizations that leverage our machine learning services for forecasting. With our IoT and edge services, there's a big proliferation, billions of devices that are connected in homes, factories, cars, etc. And you really do need solutions that can connect them, collect data, store them, and analyze this device data. And our IoT and edge services provide that functionality to let you build solutions for virtually any use case across a wide range of devices. For big data, the increasing volume velocity, and variety of data is causing a big challenge for enterprises, where the analysis of this data cannot be solved easily with traditional databases and solutions. So AWS provides many services that allow you to collect this data, store it, and process it easily within the AWS Cloud. And for example, we have Pinterest, who leverages AWS to process over 200 million users, 2 billion boards, and 189 petabytes of data. And finally, HPC workloads. Now, HPC allows scientists and engineers to solve complex, compute-intensive problems. These all require high network performance, large amounts of memory, and very high compute capabilities. So AWS allows you to increase the speed of research and reduce the time to results by scaling to a large number of parallel tasks that would have been virtually impossible on on-premise environments. Additionally, our pay-as-you-go model allows you to throw even more servers at it and complete jobs even sooner. For example, Digital Globe is one of our customers leveraging HPC on AWS, and they're able to deliver petabytes of Earth imagery data and analysis information in weeks instead of months. So compute is a common thread you see in our discussions here across all our different workloads here, and compute is not a one-size-fits-all concept. There's different needs and different use cases for compute, and for this, we have partnered with Intel over the last 10 years to provide a wide range of compute resources and compute capabilities. So for example, we have a wide range of compute for things such as general purpose usage, high I/O, graphics and large memory, and so on, so we can provide and allow our customers to choose which compute resources meet their needs the best. So as I mentioned, we have a partnership with Intel, over 10 years of experience of developing this type of compute capability, and these allow our customers to choose the right resource needs for the workloads such as AI, ML, HPC, analytics, and so on. And we'll just take one little deep dive here into the AI, ML stack, since these are all compute intensive. So you see here, we start with our application services in our stack. These are services that are provided by AWS. They're pre-trained services that provide out-of-the-box functionality such as image recognition or language translation, which makes it very easy for developers to incorporate into their applications without having to understand the science behind the technologies. Additionally, Marketplace allows customers to leverage third-party commercial AI and ML software in a pay-as-you-go model. We have platform services such as SageMaker, which provides the ability to build and train and deploy machine learning models quickly. For those who want to create custom models with support for the open source frameworks, we have our various frameworks that are provided out of the box. We even have various hardware devices such as Deep Racer and Deep Lens. Deep Racer is a reinforcement learning race car, which is our second AWS machine learning device. Our first device was our AWS Deep Lens, which is a deep learning camera. And both of these devices leverage the Intel Atom processor. For HPC workloads, we've also, of course, partnered with Intel to provide the right compute and integration functionality. For example, we've worked with Intel Parallel Studio for optimizing code to run in AWS and run on the Intel chips. And this drastically improves performance for workloads that leverage this kind of functionality. So we're going to continue to work in collaboration with Intel to keep providing new technologies and new compute capabilities as technologies evolve and as consumer demand increases. And whether you're building a pilot or a proof of concepts, we're always going to provide the right resources to make you successful. I'm going to pivot now and talk about another great partnership we have with VMware. Let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about hybrid architectures. For this, I'm going to turn it over to Dan to talk about VMware on AWS.
Thank you, Wesley. We are really excited about this partnership with AWS and the value and the business outcomes it's providing for our joint customers. According to an IDC study, 80% of organizations are committed to hybrid architectures. Also, according to a survey conducted by VMware, 92% of organizations consider it important to have the same architecture on and off premise. Let me explain what that means in more detail. Specifically in terms of the requirements for hybrid architectures, our customers have provided the following input. Number one, they want operational consistency. You want to be able to implement, automate operations, processes, etc. in a similar fashion, both on-premise and in the cloud. Number two, being able to use the existing skill sets and tools across both on-premise and off-premise. Number three, really simplicity around management of assets, including security. Number four, providing the same SLAs within a private cloud as well as a public cloud. And finally, number five, having compatibility with applications so you don't have to reconfigure them, refactor them, rehost them, etc. So what's the opportunity for hybrid cloud computing? Well, it provides the ability for increased IT agility while reducing complexity and risk. In terms of agility, you can accelerate time to market. For example, deliver new services that enable you to differentiate your business. You can quickly extend to the cloud and leverage consistent infrastructure across on-premise and the cloud, as well as scale seamlessly, and that is seamlessly add resources across private and public clouds, and also to effortlessly expand out globally. At the same time, you can reduce complexity and risk, and part of that includes optimizing cost, applying your IT budget based on ROI and app requirements, and also to minimize security vulnerabilities by unifying security from the data center to the cloud. And finally, managing across footprints, more specifically, managing cost, usage, capacity planning, performance, and security across your infrastructure. These are some significant challenges that you can quickly remediate by leveraging a consistent hybrid cloud architecture. After hearing what our customers were telling us, we partnered with AWS to jointly develop VMware Cloud on AWS. VMware Cloud on AWS is an integrated cloud offering by VMware and AWS that delivers a highly scalable, secure, and innovative service that allows you to seamlessly migrate and extend your on-premise VMware vSphere-based environments to the AWS Cloud running on next-generation EC2 bare metal infrastructure. Some of the key benefits include the ability to run, manage, and secure production workloads in a seamlessly integrated hybrid IT environment without having to purchase custom hardware, rewrite applications, or modify IT operating models. Your staff can leverage familiar skills, tools, and processes for managing private and public cloud environments, enabling consistent operations, improve productivity, and also reduce cost. A very simple and consistent way for applications to access the broad and deep portfolio of native AWS services. It also provides the ability to innovate and respond to changing business demand with enterprise capabilities of VMware SDDC for any application, coupled with the elastic AWS infrastructure and the breadth and depth of services that Wesley just walked us through. You can also take advantage of elastic DRS and add and remove capacity based on application requirements. And finally, enabling rapid time to value with the ability to spin up an entire SDDC in under 2 hours and scale host capacity in a matter of minutes. This jointly engineering solution was also awarded the CRN Hybrid Cloud of the Year in 2018. You can leverage different cloud strategies based on your needs with VMware Cloud on AWS. For example, many organizations are looking at this offering for data center extension, so you can extend your data center footprint with on-demand capacity. Many organizations are using this for disaster recovery. You can create, replace, or augment your current DR strategy. You can also use it for cloud migrations. Data center evacuation is one of the top use cases that we have for this offering today. And that is simply leveraging the platform to migrate applications to the cloud with little or no downtime with VMware vMotion. You can also build next generation applications and services. And you also have the flexibility to choose where the applications run based on business need and the ability to move workloads bidirectionally between vSphere-based private and public clouds. Customers can also leverage a broad and growing ecosystem of ISVs for additional use cases and business impact. The offering is currently available running on EC2 i3 Metal. VMware Cloud on AWS is running directly on AWS Elastic Bare Metal infrastructure, which provides high bandwidth, low latency connectivity to AWS services. Virtual machine workloads can access public API endpoints for AWS services such as AWS Lambda, Amazon Simple Queue Service, Amazon S3, and Elastic Load Balancing, as well as private resources in the customer's Amazon VPC, such as Amazon EC2, and data and analytics services such as Amazon RDS, Amazon Kinesis, and Amazon Redshift. And that's really the power of the solution, is leveraging the VMware SDDC, all of the associated capabilities, and the AWS services to drive business impact and business outcomes. You can also leverage established on-premise enterprise security, governance, and operational policies and extend that with the scale and security that the AWS Cloud brings. We also have the new high storage capacity option with VMware vSAN utilizing Amazon Elastic Block Storage or Amazon EBS that runs on the R5 Metal. And what's great about this offering is that our customers can scale storage independently of compute based on application requirements. I'd also like to talk about a few customer-specific use cases, one of which is cloud migration. So Stagecoach, a leading public transport company in the UK, they had a requirement to migrate a mission-critical application that supports 11,000 buses and trains that carry 3 million plus passengers per day to the cloud. Now that's a mission-critical workload. They were able to migrate this application to the cloud in just 3 weeks, achieving 99.99% availability using VMware Cloud on AWS. And they also used a unique feature of the platform, which is stretch clusters, which allows you to stretch a cluster across 2 different Amazon availability zones. Another use case is data center extension. Playtika, the world's largest online gaming company, needed to expand their data center footprint and leverage on-demand capacity. With the VMware Cloud on AWS, they were able to migrate 650 live VMs in just 5 days. Now that's impressive. Also, in terms of disaster recovery, which is another common use case, I'd like to highlight PHH Mortgage. PHH Mortgage is a large mortgage service provider in the US, and they had a requirement to reduce CapEx by closing a secondary on-premise DR site. They were able to move 350 VMs to the VMware Cloud on AWS in just a few days. Very impressive. But we're not stopping there. Our partnership is continuing to expand, and there's a whole host of new things that we've announced across the last couple months, and I'd like to highlight a few of those. So several months ago in Barcelona, we announced that we're bringing Amazon RDS back to the data center. This offering will allow you to set up, operate, and scale databases in VMware-based software-defined data centers and hybrid environments. This offering supports Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and MariaDB databases. We also announced VMware Cloud on AWS Outposts at AWS reInvent several months ago. This is a fully managed VMware SDDC running on AWS Bare Metal on-premise. Again, consistent infrastructure and operations with other VMware environments with a cloud-like consumption model for hyperscale architectures. And finally, VMware Cloud Foundation for EC2. This offering extends VMware enterprise capabilities to Amazon EC2 workloads both on-premise and in the cloud. This offering enables unified networking and security, as well as a unified management for both vSphere and EC2-based environments. Now that's powerful. At this time, I'd like to thank AWS for their partnership and looking forward to future joint collaboration. And I'd like to turn it back over to Wesley to continue to present Transforming Enterprise IT.
Thank you, Dan. Now we'll look into an IT map of traditional IT organizations. You see here, this is a very common organizational structure where you have various siloed teams providing products and services and back office systems and computing, as well as other teams that are providing infrastructure and engineering and operations. And this many times facilitates a kind of throwing over the fence and not me, and kind of a lot of blockers to enable transformation. So we're looking to see how enterprises are actually improving upon this with a transformation of IT into the new world of cloud. And so one of the key values that we really encourage within our customers and our users is to really have a dedicated team with a single threaded ownership over an organization's most important initiatives. And this is really the most effective way to get things done and really influence change. And this really comes down to Cloud Center of Excellence. Having a centralized team that could really establish best practices and operations across the organization for all things cloud and all things IT. And starting from the bottom, we'll base it on having a staff that is trained and certified, really motivating the team to be fully up to speed with how cloud operates and how the new world of the dynamic world of cloud can help the business. And what they'll provide is best practice guidance around these different areas, such as infrastructure, applications, leadership, operations, and security, so that they can provide the guidance, or this team can provide the guidance, so that this is not having to be reinvented and rediscovered across each additional team. This could be leveraged across all teams to allow the various organizations to be more nimble and be able to react faster. And this really is based on these concepts of hybrid architecture, for example. With hybrid architecture, it is not uncommon for many enterprises to have some form of on-premise infrastructure that really is hybridized with cloud. So providing the direction for the organization on how best to leverage hybrid. We have services and tools such as Direct Connect and VPN to allow such functions. Having reference architectures. Many times the Cloud Center of Excellence can provide the blueprint around what is the best architecture for websites or for HPC workloads or big data workloads, so that when teams want to go ahead and invent and develop, again, they're not having to reinvent the wheel here. They can leverage these best practices that meets the security posture and cost structures that are desired by the organization, and really can focus on developing quickly services that best meet the business. Also, identity management. Providing the controls in place to not just empower users to be able to build what they want, but also lock things down enough with minimum privilege, so users have the right amount of privilege, but no more than that. Cost management, having a centralized view of cloud. The Cloud Center of Excellence team can really ensure that the cost structure is within line of desired business objectives. And finally, migration management. As part of the migration of most enterprises, there's usually many workloads that need to be migrated into cloud, and takes time. And so providing the best practices guidance for the organization about how best to migrate applications into the cloud. And so what typically happens is this becomes a mixed state at first. We have our various teams with a initial start of a Cloud Center of Excellence team, and they work alongside the rest of the teams and help start providing the guidance. But the goal being that over time, the Cloud Center of Excellence team really does become that centralized organization that provides the best guidance and the best solutions for the overall organization and allow them to be most effective. One good example here is our customer, Edmunds. Edmunds.com is a auto website. They provide services for 20 million customers monthly. They do things such as dealer inventory, product car reviews, photos, videos, stories, etc. And you see here that this transformation, number one, took some time. This is not uncommon, again, with large organizations. You see this started in their case back in 2005, but you see their cloud experimentation started in 2011. So really, this is something that doesn't happen overnight, and with enterprises, it takes an investment. It takes time to achieve. So here we start with data center management. Next, we have web scale app development was next into cloud. DevOps, next with cloud experimentation. And then finally, they made an all-in decision to move to AWS. So with business case evolution, when you look at the cost of ownership moving into cloud, this also can encompass a journey. You see here that typically when you lift and shift, the concept of lift and shift is when you move one-for-one workloads into cloud without optimizations. There is typically a cost and benefit you see within cloud, but there's a lot of room for further optimizations. And you'll see here, for example, after the lift and shift, Edmunds had done various layers of optimization, such as instance right sizing, find the right size instance for the workload so you're not overpaying, improving elasticity, which is effectively adding and removing servers on demand, and again, you leveraging the right amount of services for the needed demand and no more, optimizing storage and trying to reduce storage costs, leveraging serverless when appropriate, and managed services as well, with the goal of getting a true optimized cost and performance structure within AWS to really best meet the business. And in the case of Edmunds here, you see here their 5-year ROI here really was significant at 68.9%. And they've seen other benefits as well, not just costs. They've increased productivity, agility, time to market, all other benefits that they've received just by moving to AWS and cloud. Now moving forward, we do have the ability to provide help. Moving to the cloud isn't always easy, and it sometimes takes some work, and we have both partners and AWS professional services that can help you along the way. These are organizations that have experience in moving to the cloud and can help you along your journey as well. We have partners that are both consulting partners and technology partners, such as IT consulting and system integration and managed services, and technology partners that provide all types of technologies around software and operating system databases, etc. And these partners also meet various competencies. So whether you are a government agency or a healthcare organization, we have partners that really meet and know your business, know your industry, and can provide the best type of guidance and services for your journey into the cloud. And this also includes competency around various solutions. If you're looking for a DevOps, you're trying to improve your DevOps competency, we have partners that can help with this, as well as improving your IoT and migration and so on. We also have documented best practices, but some of the key ones here are really around these items here, which is, number one, we need executive leadership. To be successful in your IT transformation journey, you need top-down executive buy-in and leadership to sponsor your journey into the cloud. You need to educate your staff, not only being educated, but also being motivated and with leveraging types of things such as AWS certification really goes a long way to helping with your journey to the cloud. Creating an environment of experimentation, one with low cost of failure so that you can experiment and try things, and if you fail, you learn your lessons and be able to quickly turn things off and move on. Again, developing this cloud center of excellence to provide the best practices across your organization. And then finally, engage partners. These are partners, again, that can help you with your journey, who have been there, done that, and it can help you along your journey. And for this, thank you very much for your time today, and I appreciate you listening to Transforming Enterprise IT. We do have a few extra minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions. First question here is, how large is a typical Cloud Center of Excellence team? And really this question is a good question, actually. Every organization is really different. There is not really a cookie cutter kind of standard approach for the size of the Cloud Center of Excellence team. But what we found is that this team typically is a lot smaller than you think. It usually ranges from even a handful of people to maybe even several dozen at most. But the goal being that this team is providing the guidance around the entire organization. So the more they do around automating and streamlining the process, actually the smaller the team is. But we found actually, again, the team is actually relatively small compared to the organization. Another question here. You mentioned the importance of having your team certified on AWS. Do you have any guidance on how I can direct my team to get trained for certification? And the answer is yes, we have plenty of guidance here. We have a certification site that outlines the AWS certification program. This includes describing certification paths. Either, there's certification associates, as well as professional or even specialty certifications such as big data or security. And each of these, there's actually recommended paths, learning paths to achieve these certifications. Next question here actually is a VMware question. I'll let Dan answer this one. The question is, do we need to have VMware NSX on-premise in order to use VMware Cloud on AWS? Dan?
Yeah, that's a pretty typical question. So the answer is no. So having NSX on-premise is not a requirement, but having said that, if you do have NSX, there are some additional benefits. For one, it provides a common operating model for network administration. It also provides a secure communication and simplified connectivity between on-premise and the VMware Cloud on AWS. And also you can use it to enable hybrid applications that bridge on-premise and VMC on AWS if you're using, let's say, an IPsec VPN or a direct connect.
Great, thank you. We have one more question here, another VMware question. Are there standard reference architectures for leveraging the native AWS services?
Yes, there are. So Amazon has a site, and it's aws.amazon.com/VMware/resources. And the Amazon team has built a number of reference architectures that not only leverage the VMware Cloud on AWS, but also many of the AWS services. So I'd encourage you to go there and check those out and see all the great work that the AWS team has done leveraging both VMware and the AWS services.
All right, well, thank you for taking the time for listening to Transforming Enterprise IT. Next, we have Achieving Business Value, led by Michael Chu and Jake Burns. Thank you.